In today's video, we're going to be touching on 2 of the 3 builds that we have in progress right now. So first up, we have the 110. The frame is back from powder coat over at Palmer's Powders. So we can officially start assembling this later in the video, but just wanted to show you guys before we get into it too deep. The fit and finish of everything is outstanding. From what I understand, this is a pretty tough process. A lot of vapor blasting and polishing and heating up and coating. It's definitely a tough process. I do not recommend doing this on your own. Have some professionals take a look at it for you. Again, this can only be done on a steel frame, but yeah, this turned out awesome. All the coloring's really well. It's kind of hard to see in this light right now, but looks really good. We got this done, as well as the swing arm, and a couple pieces like the brake arm done in black. So we'll get into this later, but just wanted to show you guys a little bit of progress on this. Before we get too far into that though, we need to finish disassembling the rest of the 250 before I assemble the 110. I want to get this disassembled so that I can send the frame and subframe off to Palmer's Powder so that we can get these redone white. Got a lot of feedback from you guys with this build. I am not going to be blacking this thing out. I know that's typically my style, but this is a little bit more of a retro restoration type build that I want to make look period correct, but a little bit of twist here and there. But no, not blacking out the frame, not blacking out the swing arm, nothing like that. So don't hold your breath too long on that one. But yeah, I'm gonna set this up on the tripod and we will get to disassembling and then reassembling the 110. Little update as we're making some progress tearing this thing down. Obviously got the front end off and the pipe and all that stuff. One question I have, I don't know, maybe there's some 2-stroke gurus out there that would know, but what clamp do you guys suggest running? I don't know if there's like a factory one or if like a Pro Circuit one is kind of period correct, but I want to be able to run a fat bar. If not, I mean, I guess these will work fine and I'll just get these stock ones cleaned up, but I don't really know what I'm gonna do for clamps yet. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. As far as the pipe goes, it's decently clean. It's got some little bit of wear and tear here and there, but I think we can get this cleaned up. It is Pro Circuit, so stoked about that. It's got the old school branding and I don't know, that kind of looks pretty rad. So we might hang on to that. Just get it cleaned up a little bit. As far as the plastics go, the previous owner did give me a box full of them, so pretty stoked about that because with the new graphics and everything, this will look really good with a fresh set of plastics. Last thing to do before we get the engine out is drain the coolant, and this should be ready to pull out. There it is, a bare frame. I set up the tripod to record that, but I totally forgot to push record, but oh well. Engine's out, frame's still looking really good. No cracking anywhere that I can see. Just a lot of wear from, you know, 30 years of being ridden. Probably never stripped down to the frame either, so looking really good. This is a really good base for a clean project build bike, so stoked about that. Like I said before, we're gonna run this over the powder coater, get it redone white as well as the subframe, and then engine will probably just get cleaned up. I don't really plan on doing too much as far as internals go because this thing ran pretty strong before. Maybe mount an Electron on there for a carburetor, but pretty crazy looking at these engines side by side. The 250, which obviously has a lot more power than the 110. Just the simplicity of a 2-stroke engine is pretty crazy. It's just so compact, light, and durable. I love these things. I'm very excited to be doing this build, but I think now we will get the 250 off the stand, get the 110 engine on the stand, and mount the frame up so we can start assembling the 110. Alright, so we got the frame all mounted to the engine. I've got the electric box, or whatever you want to call this, I guess kind of like an air box, but battery box, electric box, I don't know. Got most of this wired, I think the way that it should work. I know some of this might not be exactly OEM, but I like to kind of tuck everything away so you don't see it. So I'm kind of working on getting these moved over and kind of hidden out of the way. And then we'll check clearance on the gas tank to make sure all these wires clear. But I don't know if this is OEM or not, but or stock, I guess. We'll throw the tank on next and then move on from there. Okay, so we got our tank on. Like I showed before, this electrical box is all mounted up. It's coming together pretty nicely. I'm kind of just taking my time, just making sure that everything fits right and all the wires run right. One thing, if you've watched my builds before, I'm a huge advocate on when like a distributor, or whatever you want to call this, meets the frame. I like to grind those off. Even though the powder coaters do a pretty good job, I like to make sure that there's a nice sufficient ground there so that, you know, we don't have any hiccups, no gremlins running around. And same thing with this main ground, kind of take a file to that and make sure you're on raw metal. Just I like to inspire people to build these bikes, but at the same time I want it to be safe and pass along as much knowledge as I can. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that swing arm on now so that we can see what the raw up against the raw looks like. All right, there we have it. Swing arms all on. Obviously you need to put a shock, and you actually need to order a shock. So I'm gonna put an order in this week, probably with Faster Minis, and get some parts for this thing. I need to do foot pegs, shifter, all the miscellaneous parts, but I just got a call that the forks are all ready to be picked up. So as soon as we get that aftermarket stem for those Marzocchi clamps, we'll get that board out and pressed in, and then we can mount the front end on this thing. But for now, I think I'm gonna call it a day. Got a lot of progress done with both bikes, so stoked on that. Also, if you made it this far, I wanted to show you guys, I made this, obviously having Apple AirTag somewhere on your bike can be pretty convenient. So I've 3D printed these. I'll probably redesign it a little bit and might put them for sale on the website. If you've made it this far, let me know what you think. These are made to work with a zip tie. Sorry, that one should sit flush. I don't really know where I'm gonna mount this yet. I mean, it could go somewhere on the frame, somewhere a little more hidden, kind of underneath and behind the frame, or maybe like back up against the air boot or something like that. But I don't know, I figured this would be a cool idea. Just, I know these pit bikes get stolen a lot, so especially if you're out riding them in more of an urban setting, it's a little bit more beneficial just to have some kind of tracking device on it. So again, Apple AirTag holder. I will put these on a website if you guys are into them. Should be able to sell them for pretty cheap because they're pretty cheap to make. Just a cool design that I made. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your interest in both builds. There are some boxes back there with a lot of the giveaway 125 bike. Having some problems with the engine, unfortunately, but should be able to get that thing built up at least without the engine and throw the engine in later on. So next week's video will probably start on that. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.